what's your take on that? About Gambian players, being contented with what they are.
Well, I wouldn't say Gambian players are contented to where they are. Personally, I'll have a contrary opinion to that.
Welcome again to another exciting episode of Africa in Sport here on African Renaissance TV Network with me, Mohamed M. Sediba. Well, today we are going to be discussing on the national team, issues surrounding the national team, the new developments, and also, important issues that are, related to the national team. And we will also discuss on the African footballers playing their trade abroad. They are doing, African players are doing wonderful in the leagues that are playing all over, Europe and also some African countries. So we will be discussing on their development, their improvements, and also, their achievements in those areas. So with me here today, again, I have my, the independent analyst, my co-host, Mohamed B. Baji. And of course, our guest here today is Oje Jallo. He will be taking us through, he will be giving us the analysis on this important topic that we have here. So before going further, I will allow my, my co-host to introduce himself, then we continue from
Well, it's always an interesting avenue, especially when it comes to introduction. Here on one of my favorite shows, African Sports, like you said. But today is going to be a special day. Having to join us, Mr. Oje Jallo. He's a special person, someone I really love to share a stage with all the time. So I am Mohamed B. Baji, and I am glad to be here, Sediba, once more.
Thank you so much. Now, our guest here is Oje Jallo. Oje Jallo, if you have been following Africa Renaissance TV, he has always been, part of the family. So here today, he is back again.
Yeah,
Welcome back to Africa Renaissance.
Thank you very much, Sediba.
Well, at some point, he was my boss. He didn't say that. Before he finishes his introduction, he should be saying that.
Yeah. Yes, hello viewers. I am Oje Jallo. Like the host already said, I am truly happy to be here with you today, and hoping we'll have an interactive discussions.
Well, thank you so much. Now we'll go into the discussion. It's about the the national team. This is sport, and then it's important that we go through the the development surrounding the national team. Recently the Gambian national team is without a coach. We've been without a coach since the last AFCON. When our gaffer, Coach Tom Sanford, resigned from his job. Still now we didn't have a coach, but then we've seen GFF have announced a vacancy for coach, the recruitment of a coach. So how crucial is this development for Gambian football as far as we are concerned? And then if you would like to suggest should we go into bringing again a foreign national or an African counterpart, or we should go into having a Gambian coach?
Well, this debate has been going on for quite some time now. It's a very important question. I think, this question, every Gambian has an opinion when it comes to this question. Mm-hmm. Basically, what I think about Gambian coaches, for what the GFF were suggesting about Gambian football was like, when Tom Sanford resigned, okay, it wasn't something that, it was unprecedented, to be honest with you, Mm-hmm. None of us were expecting he would have resigned in Cote d'Ivoire.
Sure.
Okay, so we were expecting that at least he would take charge, because he has a contract with the GFF until 2025 or 2026, something like that. Mm-hmm. But when he resigned, okay, there is a vacancy right now about as we speak, we have about 88 coaches that have already applied. That shows how
wow.
coaches are desperate.
We are in demand.
Yeah. really. That shows how coaches want to come and coach Gambia. Because Gambia recently we've been doing great when it comes to football. Last AFCON we have made it to the last 8, and then this AFCON, okay, unfortunately we were in heavyweights with the same pool with heavyweights, so we could not make it out. But it was truly an applaudable performance. And then talking about the coaching affair, I think it is high time we start giving the opportunity to our Gambian coaches. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of good coaches, in the Gambia here that knows the culture of Gambian football, and then that knows how Gambian football can work. I think, giving them the opportunity is not really a bad suggestion.
That's an interesting one. But then, we've seen, the Gambian coaches that we have that are, on top there. Like we can talk about like Bojang, he has recently been to, the African Games in Ghana, yes. But then, we've not seen, that good results that we expected from him, even though he has done tremendous well in the previous games that he has played.
I don't think it would be fair to rate him down based on this current performance, mm-hmm. because looking at Lai Bojang, he is one of the best youth coach within the sub-region. One of the best youth coach, he has achieved so much in youth football, and then I think, he needs to be given that opportunity, at least, even if not for the head coach of the national team, but at least to be on the spotlight, and his opinion truly needs to matter, because recently, okay, some of the youth coaches, youth players that he has developed are the ones that are in professional football right now. The likes of Abdoulaye Bojang playing for Rams, and the likes of Lamin Jallo, who passed through Sporting Lisbon and then is making it to the pro level. I think it is important that he is given the opportunity to showcase, and explore his
most definitely. It will be disappointing to rate him based on the last performance, like you said. Now our independent analysis will be here. Now what's your take on the having a new coach for the Gambia?
Well, I think that question, like Oji rightly mentioned, Sidiba, is a question that is lingering in the minds of everyone. And then the fact that the GFF has taken a step, in having an announcement or for a recruitment, this process has started, like you said. A lot of people have shown interest from within the Gambia, within Africa, outside of Africa, and that is quite a big step for us. But then, like I said, I think one of the most important things for me is about which coach is coming? What kind of coaching is the Gambia really deserving of now? Looking at the footballing setup we have, looking at the talents we have in the country. Unlike the previous managements or the previous coaches that come, Gambia now has a youthful team. And this is quite important. So we really need someone that can not just come to be to take us within a single step, but we need people that can really plan for us, people that can develop talent to the next generations. We're looking at the next 5 years, the next 10 years and beyond. And that is important. You really need someone who is really good with working with talent, working with people, especially with these young people. We've gone past that stage where you had the likes of Sana Nyasi, Seni, and then Usman, Jallo. Now we are coming down to the Barrows, Musa Barrow, Yankuba. These are people that have a decade more of, at least a decade of football in them again. And so is that really important? I think with all the candidates, I wouldn't be specific on whether it's going to be an African or a Gambian particularly or an outsider. To me, that wouldn't really be matter, but then I will be keen on the profiling that we are looking at. So it has to be someone who can really develop talent. For me, that is just the basic.
Well, that's quite important. But then now, for me personally, if I will give my suggestion, I will still go ahead to suggest to having a foreign base. Foreign cover, to lead the national team. Considering the fact that there has been a lot of speculation of bias when it comes to selection. That can be an effect on a Gambian coach, because it is well known that they have coaches that have played in the Gambian league. There are coaches that have friends in the Gambian league. They have coaches that have friends within the players of Gambia. So could this be a problem when we have a national?
I understand perfectly from the point that you are talking about. But when it comes to selection is never fair.
Most definitely.
There are always people that will be affected when it comes to selection, and then they will give their opinion based on their own advantage. So you cannot just relate based on what they say and you conclude to that. So we've seen even at the professional level, sometime back in I don't know, last World Cup in Germany, okay, Leroy Sané was in his top form, but he was dropped for other players to perform. So one could say that it's not fair, but it is a European country. So if that was in our Gambian context, things would have been otherwise. I saw the last AFCON. There's this someone, Sekou Touré. He's playing in Grenoble in the second division in French. He's having a wonderful performance. He's a defensive midfielder. He is having game time. Playing good football. But the coach decided to drop him based on
his own reasons.
Yes, he knows best, because he's the man in charge. We have to trust him because we gave him the position. You need to trust him, and then you allow him to do.
Most definitely, selections are never fair. Coaches select based on the players that they believe can play their style of play. Now, before we wrap up this area, can we rate the performance of Tom since he took over as the coach or the head coach of the Gambia?
Well, the performance of Tom Safiet as head coach of the Gambia, it's been little over 5 years, but it's an amazing step. I think as Gambians, we should be grateful that we had someone like Tom for everything that he has done with the coaching staff, of course, and then the support of all the stakeholders. Looking at the Gambia qualifying first to the AFCON, that was a huge statement, a huge achievement. And if you were to ask me at the time, I would have said Gambia really overachieved in the first qualification. And because of that, the expectation has been set so high that this last AFCON, it resulted to disappointment. I mean, we were at a place where it's like we are found in a no man's land. And then for the fact that we went to the quarterfinals, and then that the expectation was that at least in this last previous AFCON, we should get to that level, or we consider ourselves as failures. But then to me, the experiences that we have earned from there, whatever we have learned as a country, as a people, it's what is really important. So I would have rated him a little above 50, definitely. I would.
Yeah, indeed. He did great for the Gambia.
So adding to what my colleague Mr. Baye just said, looking at Tom, okay, how he resigned, okay, truly shocked me personally. Okay, because looking at Tom has written his name in the history book of Gambia. Tom so far is the best Gambian coach. What he has achieved for Gambia, he has given Gambian football hope. He made Gambians to believe in themselves. Last AFCON when the Gambia went up to the quarterfinal, people were saying that Gambia is going for the trophy. So Gambia we were never talking about, we were just anticipating to qualify for World Cup. That is basically what we were anticipating for. But now we are talking about this, just like what he was saying, just this past AFCON, what we were anticipating was Gambia will make it to the semi-finals or perhaps come with a silverware also.
Looking at the the press conference that he made, I can say, the second to last press conference that he made before the final game of the Gambia in the Ivory Coast, he mentioned some burning issues that the Gambians are not appreciative of his efforts. That anytime he wins, he's the best coach, but anytime he loses, he's the worst coach.
Well, truth can be bitter. Truth can be bitter, but some of the things Tom said, it can be painful as a Gambian, but they are facts. Tom was talking based on fact to some extent, so, it's just that, we were not happy how he portrayed the Gambia to the international stage, because that is a downgrade sort of for Gambian football. Okay, but looking at how our GFF also played a hand in the past AFCON, I truly blame them, looking how we were poorly preparations, and how we approached the AFCON, it wasn't the best of approaches, to be honest with you.
Most definitely, the Gambia have not played an international friendly game, almost a year now. Almost a year now, we've not played any international game. So, what's your take on that? This we are in the international break, but then we are not expecting any international game.
Well, that is quite a shame. For a country, we should have been competing. We should have been having friendlies. To be able to not just gauge our footballers, but then to be able to help the coaching staff. And then, in fact, the fans are like, we as a national team fans, we want to see our players. And then one time that we have this opportunity without major tournaments is on international friendlies. And this we have been deprived of for many months now, which is quite not right. And like Tom had previously mentioned that this was a challenge. And in fact, not just Tom. Now we've been seeing even some footballers, there are claims from other sides of the media that footballers have started complaining that we shouldn't blame them for not going through the first group stage because they've not really had any preparations. And then the fact that there are no you rarely find two Gambians playing in the same club side in any part of the world today that are really participating in the national team. So that familiarity is not there. So the one option they have, or the one opportunity they can use to get themselves familiarized is through international friendlies. So which we are not having. And that, I know it's a topic of its own. We can talk about a lot of things why that is not happening, from the issue of the stadium to GFF to the ministry to the country as a whole. We have a lot to talk about. But then when I want to say one thing about like what Tom said, one of the outcries that he made in Cote d'Ivoire from the last AFCON, if you have to be specific on that, is that there was a certain section of the media claiming so, but then I think with Tom shouldn't have also come outright. From my own perspective, Tom shouldn't have come outright to say those things about Gambians. That does not represent Gambia. From what I'm looking at this is a media question, and then that is one of the roles of the media. And people out there should question whatever you do. It wouldn't matter what success you have backing you. We have to ask questions. We are people that are human beings are generally insatiable beings. If we attain 5, we want 10. Next time we want 15. The more we go, so that is what we want. And as it stands today, we want a coach that can come and then take us not just to the quarterfinals. We want a coach that can take us to the semi-finals, to win the finals of the AFCON, to qualify for the World Cup and perform. So I think that expectation of the fans shouldn't be questioned. It's about all the stakeholders trying to find someone that can really match that up.
I believe it's important for fans also to question to question the coach that we have. This is very good for accountability purpose, because we need to talk about the performance of the coach. We need to talk about what they are doing in order for them to improve on them. Because if you're having critics, that's where you grow positive resource from. So I believe that's an important one. So before we take a leave of that. Now we will take our first commercial break. Then from there we'll continue towards the the Gambian players and of course African players playing their trade in the other parts of the world. Well, viewers, just to remind you, this program is being brought to you by the Gambian Land Consortium. Gambian Land FC is playing their trade in the second division league of this, of the Gambia second division league. So we'll take our first commercial break. Then when we're back, we'll continue from there. Welcome back from that short commercials. If you are just joining us, this is Africa in Sport here on African Renaissance TV Network with me, Mohamed M. Seriba, with my two able men in the studio. I have Mohamed Bibaji and of course Oje Jallo. We're discussing on the national team, and of course now we are moving on to the African players playing their trade, globally, all other parts of the world. Now, welcome back from that commercial.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Seriba.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I am still fasting, which means I'm still hungry. But you can keep on.
We will start with Ibrahima Dabo. Ibrahima Dabo, he has been playing for Roma,
yes.
And then he recently moved to Sampdoria on a loan deal. This could be seen as a demotion for most of them, because Roma is playing in the Serie A and then Sampdoria is playing Serie B. What's your take on this development?
Well, talking about Ibrahima Dabo, I think Ibrahima Dabo, sorry, but I'll be very brutal with him. Ibrahima Dabo is really not doubling up in his game, to be honest with you, because Ibrahima Dabo coming up through the ranks, during the time of Mourinho at Roma, everybody was expecting Ibrahima Dabo to be a consistent starter in the Roma team and possibly move to other teams, to the Premier League or to La Liga, to bigger clubs, I would say, because he has the talent, I don't know what is his problem, to be honest with you. That's why I said I'll be very brutal to him. Sorry for Ibrahima Dabo's sympathizers, but Ibrahima Dabo is not really catching up with his game. Though he is improving gradually when he's going to loan for Sampdoria, but looking at Sampdoria playing in the Serie B, okay, it is less competitive than Serie A. So he could have, though it is a loan deal, we are hoping and praying for him that when he comes back to Roma, okay, he will double up in his game and possibly, make it to higher heights.
Well, definitely, that's quite interesting. We've seen even in the national team, in Ivory Coast, he has not performed to that expectation. Even though the coach has been starting him, he has played for Thompson Fend. Now, Ibrahima Dabo, like he mentioned, like we mentioned, he has moved to Sampdoria on a loan deal. Now, how would you rate his performance in the national team, the last of course?
Ibrahima Dabo, we famously call him Ibi Dabo. He's from Bakote. We have been fortunate to see him play from here in the Gambia first, before he rose through the ranks to Roma, and then now, like you said, at Sampdoria. Well, I wouldn't be so harsh on him, just like OJ said here. I think when he first came to Roma, he's an amazing player. Even at the time at Roma, he played amazing football. He was highly rated as a youngster coming up with special talents. And then being that defensive footballer, if you really know Jose Mourinho, you would know one of the most difficult roles to play for a coach like Mourinho or Pep Guardiola is that midfield six role. It's an amazing role that is one of the most important roles in the pitch for those two coaches, for example. And then I think we tend to also forget that he is so young. For his age and then the level of competition in the Serie A, and we've seen other young players doing it, but then we don't all have to do it at the same time. And when you look at him, having that midfield roles, even in the national side, I think there was huge pressure on him. Replacing someone like Sol Mare in that midfield holding role for the Gambia as a lone midfield six is that difficult. And Gambia has been, like he said, has played against heavyweights in the last AFCON, playing against Senegal. Senegal is, if not the best in Africa, is one of the best teams that you can face in Africa. So having someone of that young age, playing in a team that, like we said, had no friendlies.
I
really need to finish this up. Is that important?
Okay, come down.
Is that important? Because when you look at him, for his age, I'm telling you, I think he still needs time. He has not lost all in how do you say at Roma. He can still come back and play. We've seen players done that. I think he's not had what really affected him was injury at initial. He was playing, but then all of a sudden he had an injury, and then recovering from injuries, different players react to injuries recoveries differently. So before he came in, before he can come back and settle, there was someone who was favored by the coach. And coaches don't really like to disrupt winning teams. So I think that affected his confidence, and for some reason he was not able to find his legs within the team, and then that led to his play in Sampdoria.
I feel that you have been so much in support of.
I do not really support I think Baji has been very sentimental when it comes to Dawa, because you've seen him playing since the grassroots level.
He's an amazing
but talking about his age, he is 22 years old.
Sure.
Okay. Looking at the game against Senegal, he was playing with 19-year-old.
19-year-old boy, most definitely.
Okay. That guy dominated him, okay, and he scored one of the best goals we've seen in the AFCON. Okay, and then the reason why, every time when we saw, that Pape Matar Sarr being in the midfield and Lamine Camara of Senegal being in the midfield, we saw Tom Sampfet bringing it Dabo. We were saying like,
it's a young player.
Yeah, it's a young versus young, it's the fresh blood, At least he has that experience, because last AFCON, Wafu, Ibrahim Lamine Camara was at last Wafu, while Ibrahim Dabo is playing top flight. He was playing national football. Okay, we were expecting that he would have dominated the midfield and use his experience against them. Okay, he is way older than them, and then he should be able to use his experience to dominate the game. But we've seen him doing a lot of blunders. That is why I said from the initial stage I'll be very brutal with him. So I'm very sorry for Ibrahim Dabo's fan, but I think he truly needs to double up in his game for the better of Gambia.
I think we've missed because of his performance, we've missed Sormare in that midfield. Because
Solely. And then I'm looking at Gambia. Okay, we have very young midfielders. Okay, the likes of there's this other guy called Alassane Camara. Okay, he is very good. He is a fine player. Okay, and then the likes of that other guy who was at the midfield.
Bunsane.
Yeah, Bob. Okay, yes, he is a fine player, very physical player. Okay, we were expecting that Tom Sampfet would have used him in the AFCON, but he chose to bring in Ibrahim Dabo. When I saw the starting lineup for that game, I was like,
you lost it there before the game commenced. But it's interesting.
It's really interesting. Now, before we spend more time on Ibrahim Dabo, I think we can move on to Ablaye Dabo, Ablaye Jallow. Ablaye Jallow is also doing well for Mets.
Ablaye Jallow is one of my favorite Gambian players. Okay, the reason is for his consistency. Okay, looking at Ablaye Jallow, he has been, I can say, after Gambia, Mets is his second home, I would say. Okay, he has left for some time and then he came back again in Mets, That shows that, the Mets fans truly appreciate him, and then he's been with them since they were in the second division, and then now they're in the first division. I think Ablaye Jallow is really doing good for Mets and Gambian football.
Most definitely. Looking at his performance for the Gambian national side, he has, in the previous AFCON before the last one, he has bring the glories that we celebrate.
So he makes a lot of Gambians happy, and then
now, what's your take on Ablaye Jallow?
Well, I think it will be like any other Gambian. Ablaye Jallow is remembered for having to score one of the most important goals in the previous AFCON session, not this last one. And then he's one of, like he said, one of our best ball shooters, and then that makes he always scores goals, and then amazing goals, spectacular goals outside of the 18. He's one of the best that you want to have at the edge of your 18, and he's an impressive player. And then in the last AFCON, he has played through some pain, and then I think that is goes to show how much he really wants to put out his body for the Gambia. I mean, coming from injury, he has not well recovered, but then he was still been able to, the coach put him, and then he was able to put in efforts to really fight for us. I really rate him high as well, unlike other players. Ablaye Jallow is
but looking at Ablaye Jallow also, Ablaye Jallow is aging. It's aging. That is why a football team, you need to have a project.
Sure.
You need to have this succession planning, at least, because Ablaye Jallow right now is around 28. Okay, the likes of Omar Koli are close to their 30s, you know. I think, okay, the likes of, like I was saying, the likes of Ibrahim Adabo are the ones that should take charge of the game, and then at least so that in 3-4 years to come, or the next AFCON, okay, they will be on their prime, and then they will be able to lead Gambia to glory.
So most definitely. Now, you know, we've seen, you know, Gambian players, it's very difficult for Gambian players to be in the same team in other parts of the world, you know. But then, you know, how important, how crucial is this for the Gambian football? You know, looking at you know, some of our players are all playing in the same league. You know, how crucial is for our players to be playing together in the same team, and also, if not in the same team, but in the same league?
Well, that is one thing that we missed as Gambians, but then this is not just specific to the Gambia. This could be traced to many African nations in terms of football. We rarely have footballers that share the same team or the same league. I mean, the few amongst us that have really succeeded in this have been opportune to see the positive results in terms of this. When you look at Nigeria, you look at Egypt, you want to go to, let's say now Morocco, for instance, Cameroon, Ivory Coast. This is one of the reasons why they are heavyweights. Okay, and then this is true not just for within the African context, even at the world stage. You look at Spain, they are 2010, they one of the best teams that they had. 90% of their players were together either in Barcelona or Real Madrid. Brazil, you want to trace back to time, had the same team. You have about 8, 7, 9 players in Real Madrid. Germany, Bayern Munich, you have about 11 or 12 players that were really coming from Bayern Munich and Dortmund combined. And, you know, this could be, if you look at the English side, England, for instance, had this problem. So it's not just the Gambia. We would really need this. But then I think we are coming of age when it comes to that. We are really trying. I think that is the target here. We should be able to have players, if not in the same football team, like you said, playing in the same league. That way they are stay connected, they know each other, they are able to observe each other's attributes, and that can really translate to positivity in the national side.
Indeed. We have some players playing in the Saudi Arabia. We have Hassan Cisse, we have Badamosi, we have Modou Baro and Musa Baro playing in Saudi Arabia. You know, they are playing in the Khmer League, people will call it.
Sure.
How will you know, rate the importance of this, our team playing in the same league?
It is very important that they are, like he was saying, it is important that footballers play in the same league, you know, at least, okay, they will be able to understand, okay, when they come to national side, how they can join together and take the national team forward. But talking about the Gambian footballers in Saudi, okay, the likes of Musa Baro, with the talent Musa Baro is having, no Gambian, okay, we will all agree to that, no Gambian was expecting that at this age of his career, he will be playing in Saudi football. All of us were expecting after Bologna, Musa Baro is going to the English Premier League, so perhaps the likes of Manchester, Man City, okay, and the likes of Liverpool, okay. He is pure talent, okay, and then he is lethal up front, okay. He can shoot from any angle, and then he can score anywhere in the field, okay. That goes the same thing for Badamosi. I think Badamosi, his first or second game, he scored a very spectacular goal. Okay? Looking about the range of about 30 meters, okay, he kicked the ball and then it was a goal, you know. So we have talent, okay, but what is lacking is, I don't know what is the problem with Gambia.
I think we have a problem with scouting. Will you agree with that?
One would say scouting, and then some might also say, okay, hard work. Okay, there's this, I was speaking to, before I come here, I was speaking to one man, okay, we were discussing about Gambian football. So what he told me about Gambian football, he said that Gambian made up their Taylor Doyle.
That's true.
That is what he told me. Gambian made up their Taylor Doyle. So, like, when you make it to pro level, you are playing in Serie A, okay, your life is okay, a Gambian standard, okay. You don't tend to put in the hard work, you don't tend to put in the effort, okay, to become world class, okay. We are different. We are Gambians naturally, okay. We have this kind of mentality. You know, we are different from, I'll use example, our counterparts, our neighbors, Senegal. You know? Look at the likes of, okay, Ismail Assar. Look at the likes of Sadio Mane, okay. How they are putting in effort. Look at the likes of Osimhen of Nigeria. Osimhen won the Golden Boot in Italy, but still he is hungry for more. He is pushing, okay. That is what we need from Gambian players. You know, we need to push it, because that is the only way scout can come to your country, okay. You need to at least produce 2-3 world-class players, and scout will say, oh, there's something in the Gambia, so they will start coming in, and then we have pure talent here. At some point, all Gambians play football. Okay, so we have pure talent. What we need is the opportunity and the avenue to explore our potentials and to further develop ourselves.
Well, that's a good point. And then I believe, you know, players, you know, like to be contented with what the level that you have is a problem, because, you know, as a player you need to be hungry always, you know, for more. Now, you know, what's your take on that? You know, about you know, Gambian players, you know, being contented with what they are.
Well, I wouldn't say Gambian players are contented to where they are. Personally, I'll have a contrary opinion to that. When you look at that, I think one of the benefits or advantages that other people have, other countries will have, that our young Gambian players are really not opportune to. It's about that guidance in terms of having a football structure that really supports all these things that we are saying. And then Gambia, talent has never been in question for the Gambia. From the late Biribiri, I think we should really honor him.
In fact, that should be the starting point. Today's
from there.
Today's supposed to be his birthday, Biribiri.
Yes,
so may his general soul.
An amazing bowler for those that we are lucky to have witnessed him, and then to the younger generations now. I think some of us have seen some videos of him, and then we know how much he's respected in Spain at Seville. So that is quite amazing. But then, like I said, we have talents like that have been in the Gambia. Not just that, coming to the early 2000s, you want to tell me Ibu Silla, Sananyasi, Usman Jallo, Modu Sise, these are talents that have been here. But then the unlucky thing for the current generation is that they have not been able to have that opportunity to learn from these people. I mean, that direct contact has not been in there. So the stakeholders, for me, the football stakeholders in the Gambia should really do better to make sure there is a bridge of this gap. In Senegal, you see the likes of Elas Diouf, you see the likes of Aliou Cissé. They are all back playing and supporting young kids. And then this is not present in the Gambia.
I think this is happening now in the Gambia. We have Ibrahima Sohna. He owns the boards a team, and also Steve Tarawale too. They were playing for the national team in the previous AFCON. Now we will join two of these players together. They are very important before we move on to the next part of this session. That is Umar Koli. He's playing for Besiktas, and then he has been doing very well.
Well, Umar Koli as our captain. Well, that is an amazing pass. Maybe Oje want to start with that first. Let's see.
Let's have Oje.
Yeah, Omar Koli is a fine bowler. I'm fortunate to watch Omar Koli ever since I was a kid. Growing up in Lamen. So he has been doing fantastic well, and then I think generally we can all agree to that. Looking at his past AFCON, how the important or the crucial role he has played for Gambian football. We can see that when he moved out of the game, that was the time that we started having the problems of our last game, against Cameroon. We were on top of the game, but when he went out, it was quite difficult for us. But Omar Koli right now, what he needs is, like I was saying previously, we need a successor.
Inheritance. So
Omar Koli is aging. Omar Koli is aging, to be honest with you. He is in his 30s now, and then he needs someone that can replace him. We have the likes of James Gomez, but James Gomez is not at his best at the past AFCON. I don't know what was the issue. Maybe he changed clubs or something like that. But Omar Koli is doing fine. Besiktas also, he is doing fine, but he needs someone that can at least take up his mantle once he hang up his boots.
Most definitely. You want to...
Well, he has already spoken my mind. That is amazing. Omar Koli is our captain. We are proud of him. He's doing wonders, and then he's really inspiring a lot of people in that team, in the national side, in terms of leadership, in terms of his presence, and then now we've seen he's becoming not vocal person, trying to speaking for the players, especially on their welfare, which is quite really crucial for them.
Now we will close this section with Yankuba Minte. Yankuba Minte, of course, he has been doing wonders, when it comes to the championship. He has played in the championship, and then he has doing very well for his club.
Yankuba Minte, the Gambian Messi, like he's famously called. I think he's a pure talent. If we're talking of talent, it's a generational talent in the Gambia. I said if elders can point at the likes of a late Biribiri to as a pure talent, our generations will also be lucky to say we are also witnessing, we are also seeing someone, the Gambian Messi, Yankuba Minte, as that pure talent that we have, that rarely comes to any country. And then I think Gambia should be proud, and we should be also careful, and then how high we hold him, and then how far he can go. I mean, he's proven he's ticking every positive box for us out there. Playing for Feyenoord, on loan from Newcastle. We are all hopeful that he will come next season or these seasons after. He will find his way playing in the Premier League, and then representing one of the best clubs in England, in Newcastle.
Most definitely, like you've mentioned, he is on loan to to Feyenoord, but then we've seen recently there have been reports that then he might be called up to Newcastle very soon. How important will this be for the Gambian football?
Well, first of all, I think we need to talk about the importance it has for Yankuba Minte himself. Yankuba
I love Yankuba. Yes, to be honest with you, because our Yankuba is a hungry lad. Okay, when you see him play, you can see that yes, this boy is ambitious. This boy wants something from football. Okay, last Afcon, in my opinion, he is our best player last Afcon. Okay, and then going on to Feyenoord again, he is doing tremendously well. Okay, he's been breaking records at the Gambian level, and then we hope so the trend will continue, and then he is hope for Gambia, to be honest with you. We are hoping that Wayankuba Minde will be the likes of Sadio Mane and possibly be a Ballon d'Or winner for the first time after George Weah, for the first time in the history book of Gambia. And then scouts will come, we will have more talents okay, and then we move Gambian football forward.
That most definitely. We hoping for that. Now, this will bring us to the end of this session. Now we move on to the next part of it. But before that, we just wish to, to pray for, Biri Biri. Biri Biri, he's a legend for the Gambia. He played for Sevilla, and then he played very well for the Gambia, and then he did very well for, to fly the flag of the Gambia very high. We may have to say some words onto, him. He's legendary.
Well, I think with Biri Biri is that it's difficult to say a word. I mean, because whatever word we say can only be less than what we should really say. He's a legendary personality. He was a legendary personality, but his name in the Gambia means something. He rose our flag to a height that we couldn't have imagined, and then that we should be proud of. And that should give us inspiration and hope as a country going forward, that anyone trying to replicate that achievement would really do good for the Gambia.
How important is celebrating these legends for the Gambia?
Well, I think it is important to celebrate your legends everywhere because at some point, okay, we all want to leave a legacy behind, okay, and then when we are past and gone, we hope that somebody will celebrate us. So, okay, you need to do that for other people so that other people too can do that for you. So, Biri Biri already is recognized as a legend in Gambian football, and okay, we respect him for that, and then we pray that his soul rests in peace, and then we hope and pray that we will have more Biri Biris in Gambian football.
Most definitely. Well, we pray that his soul and Allah Subhanahu wa Taala be pleased with his soul. Just to remind you, this program is being sponsored by the Gambian National Consortium. Like I said, they are playing in the second division league and also in the third division league of the West Coast region, which is Busumbala.live. So till we come your way next time, back from